البخاري في صحيحه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Bukhari narrated to us by Abu Hurairah, and the theme of Ridha, the concept of content, and it's a double-edged sword. You speak of content that you would have towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His actions and what occurs to you in your life, and there's content regarding yourself, and they're very different. One of them is the source of all good, and one of them is the source of all evil. And this one concept of Ridha is so important because of how dynamic it is and how opposite it is in terms of its effect. And this hadith is probably one of the all-time famous ahadith in the collection of Bukhari. And it doesn't necessarily only talk about Ridha, but it has a piece in it that I think is central to the concept, so I want to share it with you. فقال عليه الصلاة والسلام تعس عبد الدرهم تعس عبد الدينار تعس عبد الخميصة تعس عبد الخميلة أن أعطي رضي وإن لم يعطى سخط. So what he said, and this is the first part of the hadith, and I think I'll stick with that because for time. So the Prophet ﷺ would say that تعس عبد الدينار or dirham. So Abdul Dirham is the slave or the servant of the coin. Dinar as gold and dirham as silver. Ta'is meaning may this person always be in a state of upset and misery. So it could be understood as a dua, or it could be understood as a statement, a factual statement. And I actually understand this hadith not as a dua, as some scholars tend to understand it, which is totally fine. But I tend to understand this as a factual statement. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ is telling us the slave of the golden coin, or the slave of the silver coin, or the slave of the khamisa or the khamila, when it comes to possessions, whether things you wear or things that you have in your home, so possessions, commodities, will always be miserable, will always be in ta'asa. And ta'asa is misery or upset, or just generally being not happy in life. Why? Because in u'ti radi, if this person gets the things that he is servant of or the slave of, he'll be happy, he'll be content. If you give him the coin, the silver coin, the golden coin, the possessions that he wants to have, the car, the clothing, the house, because there's a difference to have stuff. There's a difference between having stuff and stuff having you. Like they're not the same thing, right? If they have you for khalas, you're their servant. Really, everything that you have in life should be your servant. The car is to serve me, to take me where I want to go. I'm not his servant. I'm not responsible for polishing every piece, and if somehow something happens to it and I can't sleep at night and I get in fight with people over it. I'm not servant to it. It's a servant of mine, as everything else in life should be that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me. So what he's trying to explain to us, alayhi salam, is if you're a servant of the things that you have in life, the currencies, the wealth, the possessions, the commodities, then you'll be miserable. You are doomed. This person is doomed to be miserable. Because in u'ti, if he gets what he wants, radi. Because your happiness now, your content, your ability to be content is now conditional. It's no longer motivated internally as it should be. It's no longer a choice that you're making. I want to be content. No, it's conditional. It's all about external effects. If you are given what you are a servant of, if you're given that which you're enslaved to, or what you want, radi, you'll have content. وَإِن لَمْ يُعْطَى, and if he's not given that which he wants or which he is servant to, سَخِطَ, he will be in a state of upset and he'll be disgruntled. And then the Prophet ﷺ continues, قَالَ تَعِسَ وَانْتَكَسْ وَإِذَا شِيكَ فَلَنْتَقَشْ. So this is a dua piece. تَعِسَ وَانْتَكَسْ, may he be miserable. And may he only find a downward spiral. There's no other way to explain intikas. Intikas means just one failure after the other. وَإِذَا شِيكَ, and if he is to be hit by a shawka is a thorn, and if a thorn is to enter his body, فَلَنْتَقَشْ, may he never be able to find it to take it out. The Prophet ﷺ is saying that this way of life is so miserable, is so bad, is so wrong, that may the person who decides to live that way always be miserable. May that person always find a downward spiral of failure, and may that person never find ease in their lives. Not against them, but as in frustration towards them. The Prophet ﷺ, when he would say something like this, it was in frustration of how could you allow yourself to live this way? Why would you be in that position where your content, where your ridha is conditional? Do I get what I want? Am I getting the amount that I want, the things that I want? So I'm happy and I'm content. If I'm not, then I'm all disgruntled and upset. Why would you give anything the ability to control you that way? And then he would continue, alayhi salatu wasalam, he would talk about something beautiful. He would say, رب عبد أشعث أغبر مغبرة قدماه أشعث رأسه آخذ بعنان فرسه في سبيل الله إذا كان في الحراسة كان في الحراسة وإذا كان في الساقة كان في الساقة. The Prophet ﷺ talks about someone who إذا شفع لم يشفع وإذا استأذن لم يؤذن له. This is a person who's living his life, he couldn't care less. He is out there on his horse for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His head is ash'ath, meaning it's filled with dust. مغبرة قدماه, his shoes aren't polished because of the work that he's doing. He's taking his horse and he's going for the sake of Allah. This person is not looking around him, doesn't care. If they put him up front, he's up front. If they put him in the back, he's in the back. If they put him on the sidelines, he's on the sidelines. If he asks for permission, no one cares enough to give him permission. And if he intercedes, no one thinks he's worthy of intercession to begin with. The Prophet ﷺ says, this is a man. This is a Muslim. Doesn't care. Not running after dunya. Doesn't care about whether he has or he doesn't have. What he has is internal content. He's happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's satisfied. So he's there and he's in service, with no interest of whether he has a dirham or dinar or khamisa or khamila. And this is one of the central hadith in Islam, and I can't explain it in a short khatirah, but I want to just draw your attention to the content piece in it that I think is worthy of reflection. يروي الإمام البخاري في صحيحه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم تعس عبد الدرهم تعس عبد الدينار تعس عبد الخميلة تعس عبد الخميصة إن أعطي رضي وإن لم يعطى سخط تعس وانتكس وإذا شيك فلانتقش بعبد آخذ بعنان فرسه في سبيل الله أشعث رأسه مغبرة قدماه إن كان في الحراسة كان في الحراسة وإن كان في الساقة كان في الساقة إن أذن لم يؤذن له وإن شفع لم يشفع. صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك.